Pure Earth, an international nonprofit organization dedicated to solving pollution problems in low and middle income countries, recently held its 20th Anniversary Gala celebration in Manhattan. The fundraising gala, which was titled 20 Years of Pollution Solutions, was attended by individuals concerned about having a world free of toxic pollution regardless of borders and countries.
We do a variety of different activities. The group really started with two principal functions: doing cleanups of industrial pollution in the developing world, and we continue to do that. To date, we've done over 120 projects in more than 24 countries. We've gone beyond that over time to help put together an inventory on a global basis of pollution spots, to do scholarly work in cleanups, and also now moving increasingly into advocacy to make people more aware of the pollution problem and get a broader base of support to help with the work that we do.
The sold-out event demonstrated how important Pure Earth as a leader in global toxic pollution cleanup is to its supporters. Since its inception in 1999, Pure Earth has completed 110 environmental remediation projects in 27 countries, improving the lives of millions of people, especially children, who are most at risk from the threat of toxic pollution.
Exactly that issue. It's because so many kids don't live to achieve their full potential because they're either sick or diseased or they're also disabled by a lot of these toxins. You know, heavy metals, even small amounts, if you're a little child or a baby and you get in contact with them, they really do terrible things to you. The issue is where the comparison is. We're looking only for places where the pollution is really causing substantial problems. Here in New York, yes, you can find some pollutants, but if you look at the level that they're at, and you look at science, it won't show them having any significant impact. But we'll go to some place like Attala in Armenia where we did a project, and there the levels are so high that kids who are there and playing there, they'll get doses that will really damage them. The things that we worry about most, one of the biggest issues are heavy metals. So lead, for example, it's pervasive all throughout, especially low and middle income countries, because it's made by industry, often people who are recycling batteries, and they leave the lead all around. And if that turns into a schoolyard or a children's area for playing, or like in Aktala where it was kids running around in front of that old facility, you end up with very high levels of contamination in kids. Lead's very important. Also, chromium is a worry as well. Chromium comes from tanneries, people who are making leather out of animal hides. Mercury is another big problem. And mercury is usually around gold mining, especially very artisanal-based gold mining. And I'll give you the last couple of things. The other ones are pesticides, especially pesticides that are leaking and abandoned, and the nasty old-fashioned type pesticides. These are the sort of things that are killing millions and millions and millions of people every year, and we don't really know about it.
The fundraising began from the cocktail hour, during which organizations' volunteers offered the guests crafts and jewelry for sale and benefit for Pure Earth's important mission. Based in New York, Pure Earth works cooperatively around the world in partnerships that include governments, the international community, NGOs, and local agencies to design and implement innovative, low-cost solutions to save lives.
I'm the head of communications for Pure Earth. I've been with the organization about 6 years, and my role is to really get the message out about what we're doing to solve the problem of toxic pollution and the diseases and harm that it causes in low and middle income countries, and the work that we do to clean it up and save lives and save children from, diseases that damage their brains. Certainly Armenia, we're thrilled to be working in Armenia, and that beautiful monastery, Aktala, and when we heard that it was, very common sight for children to go on field trips and how very contaminated the soil was, we were very concerned, and it's just a great, pilot project to achieve that cleanup in Armenia after, so much effort by so many people. And now it's, in a very important UNESCO heritage site. that's now clean and safe for kids?
When I started out as an intern, I really had no idea the extent that things like, I don't know, pottery or gold mining were really having a huge impact on the environment. So just being more aware has made me, I guess, a better global citizen, I could say.
The gala began by opening remarks by Conrad Meyer, board chair of Pure Earth. Mr. Meyer gave a brief history of the organization and outlined its mission. He then directed the audience's attention to the screen, where a presentation video of Pure Earth's work was shown. President and founder of Pure Earth, Richard Fuller, welcomed all the attendees and thanked everyone who made this gala possible, including all the companies and individuals who donated to the auction. Mr. Fuller then invited Pure Earth First Guardian Award recipient John Keth to introduce Pure Earth Guardian awardee Barbara Jones.
First, I'd like to tell you a little bit about how Barbara came to do so much work for Pure Earth. In 2010, Pure Earth took on a project to clean up 7 massively contaminated villages in Zamfara, Nigeria. It's the worst case of acute lead poisoning in modern history. And you might have seen that said over 400 children died. It was actually over 700 children died. Through Engineers Without Borders, Meredith Block put out a request for volunteers to help. I volunteered in September of 2010 and found myself in Zamfara as the project manager. Overall, we had about 20 expats in Zamfara, but mostly young and with limited experience. However, one of those volunteers was Barbara Jones. Since 2013, Barbara has become one of our go-to technical advisors. She always answers the call and delivers the highest quality results with the highest professionalism. She's been involved in 7 projects, generally in remote countries and in difficult circumstances. Projects in Kyrgyzstan, Azerbaijan, Cameroon, Tanzania, Tajikistan, and Armenia, with a particular focus on pesticide contamination. Barbara is known for her enthusiasm, being easy to work with, and I have to mention fearlessness.
In her remarks, Barbara Jones, founding principal and Cardinal Resources Pure Earth Technical Advisory Board member, stressed the importance of the work organization is doing and thanked her fellow volunteers and colleagues for their dedication to making the world's pollution free for all.
My most satisfying experiences have been in the last 9 years in my relationship with Pure Earth and Blacksmith. So it's been a very interesting and inspiring time for me. I really want to thank all my colleagues from Pure Earth out there in the audience. I want to thank my lovely family who is here with me tonight. And I want to reiterate what was said in the film strip for the 20th year anniversary. You've all had a chance to meet and chat with these different people that work with Pure Earth. You've gotten to hear how dedicated they are, how committed they are to fighting pollution around the world.
In introducing the next awardee, Armenia Fund USA Eastern Region affiliate Conrad Meyer shared with the audience a success story of a toxic site cleanup in Armenia at the grounds of the Apostolic Church in Akhtala.
It all started in 2013 when Pure Earth conducted toxic site assessments in 11 Armenian communities. The Apostolic Church in Akhtala, which was built on top of a 1,000-year-old lead mine. Soil lead levels measured more than 100 times the levels allowed by the US EPA. Fast forward to 2018, Barbara Jones, tonight's Pure Earth Guardian, who you just saw, helped the Pure Earth team conduct the cleanup. For the first time in hundreds of years, this historical treasure is safe as a safe destination for kids and families to visit. This is a great way to celebrate Earth Day. Of course, we want to build upon this success, train more communities to clean up polluted sites, and give all Armenian children a toxic-free future.
Mr. Meyer then invited representatives of Armenia Fund USA Eastern Region affiliate Lisa Stepanyan with Diana Mkhitaryan to accept the Green Benefactor Award. In her remarks, Lisa Stepanian thanked Pure Earth for the recognition and expressed her gratitude on behalf of people from Armenia.
No words can express how thrilled I am to be here tonight with you. On behalf of Armenia Fund USA Eastern Region, I am pleased, honored, humbled to accept this award together with Diana Mkhitaryan. Very special thanks go to Pure Earth. As we all know tonight, all their work and dedicated hard work made this special project happen in October.
Introducing the next awardee, former New York Times correspondent Gardner Harris, president and founder of Pure Earth Richard Fuller, spoke about the work Mr. Harris has conducted to address an air pollution problem in Delhi, India. Mr. Gardner Harris then received the Pure Earth Impact Award. In his acceptance speech, Mr. Harris spoke about the air pollution in India and shared a personal story of how it affected the health of his own family.
We were speculating maybe air pollution might cause as many deaths in the world as malaria, which causes some 500,000 deaths a year and is one of the big public health crises. And of course, in part, I think because of my questions, you launched this extraordinary initiative to measure air pollution deaths around the world, and it turns out air pollution causes somewhere between 5 and 6 million deaths a year. So it is roughly 10 times the size of the global malaria problem. I created some stir in India. Basically, Rich has now made this a global phenomenon, and you now see in newspapers around the world, The Guardian has now made a habit of these constant stories about the wages of air pollution, which is one of the big things that Rich, I think, is one of the most extraordinary accomplishments of anybody in your field anywhere. It's a huge deal for Rich. One of the people who ended up being in my last story in Delhi was, of course, my wife's and my 8-year-old son, who ended up suffering all kinds of respiratory problems, in large part because of India's air. And so, we have struggled a lot with the after effects of our time in India and of this story. And it's obviously a struggle that half of all families in Delhi, in fact, have children with permanent lung function damage. It is not only these extraordinary macro numbers, but very difficult personal stories for many of us who have spent time there.
The second Pure Earth Impact Award was presented to Magnolia Bakery.
We encourage everyone here to go and buy these specially decorated cupcakes during the Earth Day week, which is coming up on April 22nd and onwards over that week. And all the proceeds will fund Pure Earth's life-saving work.
Bobby Lloyd's Bakery chef, baking officer, and member of Pure Earth Campaign Committee accepted the award on behalf of Magnolia Bakery. Bobby Lloyd spoke about her trip to Peru, where she witnessed Pure Earth's work in action, training local gold miners to extract gold without the use of toxic mercury. Moved by this experience, she became a staunch supporter of the organization.
Pure Earth was training artisanal gold miners in the methods of safely mining gold without using toxic mercury. And I was so moved and impressed by their work that the minute I got back to New York City, I vowed that I would begin to support Pure Earth both personally and through my role as the Chief Baking Officer, CBO, at Magnolia. So that first year, we did our first campaign around Earth Day. This year, we decided that we would run it for an entire week, so from the 15th to the 22nd. Cupcakes will be selling. We'll donate proceeds to Pure Earth. And then I thought, the restaurant industry always has these big fundraisers like Share Our Strength, City Meals on Wheels, but I wanted to kind of engage the baking world industry to come together and kind of like the power of the cupcake or power of sweets, and how could we engage our community, because we have huge social media followings.
The fundraising gala continued with a lively and exciting auction. Both action bidders and donors from around the world who contributed items were given specific examples of how their dollar amounts can help. For instance, $10,000 can clean up contaminated soil that would protect at least 500 children from exposure to lead. Children at the Armenian Apostolic Church in Akhatala can now play on lead-free soil, following the cleanup funded by Armenia Fund USA Eastern Affiliate. $5,000 can help make toxic livelihoods like used lead-acid battery and aluminum recycling safe and protect at least 250 children. Pure Earth worked with informal recyclers in India and Vietnam to move them to industrial zones away from neighborhood children. $2,500 can help educate 125 kids and their families about how to stay safe. In Colombia, Pure Earth brought characters to the local school to teach kids why lead is dangerous and how to avoid it. Even amounts as low as $100 to $500 can have a huge impact. Blood lead testing only costs $15 per child and is a key part of Pure Earth's projects. While the gala celebration came to the end, the important work of Pure Earth to reduce disease-causing pollution around the globe continues. The organization continues to identify toxic hotspots and teach communities how to improve soil, water, and air quality with cost-effective solutions. This field of work, combined with Pure Earth's groundbreaking research and advocacy, elevates pollution as a global priority.
It started with a few friends. We wanted to do something on the environment and look at it at a global level, and no one was really addressing pollution. So we thought we'd start there.
The first few years, Rich and Oz chose 4 countries to scout for toxic sites.
We did a series of different things. We tried to help countries write environmental regulations. That was much more complicated than it looked because the languages were difficult and things were awfully complex to get involved in politics, being an outsider in those countries. We helped one place to set up garbage pickup in a national park. And that was fine for as long as we were sending them a few $1,000s to keep paying the people who were doing the collection. But as soon as we stopped, it made no more difference. So, those sort of things we learned as we were going.
Then Rich travelled to Kabwe, one of the worst polluted places on our planet, and decided the organisation needed to focus on hotspots of toxic waste, where children are dying and no one is acting. He came away understanding that, quote, living in a town with serious pollution is like living under a death sentence. If the damage does not come from the immediate poisoning, then cancers, lung infections, and mental retardation are the likely outcomes. Recognizing he needed a deeper well of resources, Rich recruited US experts in environmental remediation to serve as volunteer advisors. That group is now our renowned technical advisory board.
Seasoned environmental engineers who'd been working on problems in the US for decades and show them some of these problems. Saving lives and anything that they've worked on, they would just be so thrilled to be able to get involved in it. Donating their time, doing all of that for free. They've always been one of the most important pieces for us. When we found one acutely toxic site and measured it and started to realize what was going on, and then started to look for them, they just showed up everywhere. It was like we couldn't stop finding them. And I remember this one kid, we were looking in Calcutta, and they were watering the remnants of some leather with chromium, acutely toxic, to kind of dampen them down, but this was going to eventually get sold as fertilizer. And there were kids just sitting on top of it, chewing on these lumps of things, because they didn't have any food. It was like rawhide. And I'm sitting thinking, this is just not right.
We just can't have that go on. We just can't let that happen anymore.
In 2007, with support from the European Commission, we launched TSIP, the Toxic Sites Identification Program. The only program of its kind in the world, it is the most comprehensive global inventory of polluted sites and continues to be the core of Pure Earth's work. By 2011, we had 30 staff members in 24 countries.
When we decided we were going to get involved in a country and set up these small country offices, we would go out and interview a lot of people. We were looking generally for people who were young and brilliant and passionate about this issue. And then we would supplement our young, brilliant person with the former Minister for the Environment who might have just retired in the last cycle. So we would have an elderly coach who had all the network to help work, manage through the government relationships, and then a brilliant young go-get-'em team.
In a major leap forward, we formed the Global Alliance on Health and Pollution, bringing together multilateral organizations and environmental ministries to address urgent environmental health challenges and outline future steps to address pollution. By banding together, we created the world's largest platform for launching efforts and innovations to fight toxic pollution.
If I were to look back 20 years from now, I would hope that all of these countries have adopted pollution as an issue that's something fundamental to their own development strategies. And they're committed to doing things in healthy and productive ways. That's how the world should look.